Should probably make sure my mic is on. Helpful. Super duper helpful. Hi, YouTube. Here we are again. This is another latte. That's my latte. Latte and learn. Now, I am not a coffee drinker, so that is a chai tea latte. That's what that is. That's what that is right there. Just make sure my mic is good. Yeah, okay, cool. So today we're talking about how to be insanely good at problem solving, which is a really important skill to have. When you start a business, no matter what it is, the goal isn't to have like a mind-blowing idea necessarily, but rather to solve a problem. Right? That's really what we want to do. That's why people hire you, right? And while you may solve one massive problem, you also need to be able to solve multiple other problems. Some of these could be client related, some could be related to your own business growth. There's lots of times that we need to be really good at problem solving. So in this video, I'm going to cover 5 ways to be insanely good at problem solving, pointing right at you like that. Okay, so the good news is, just like any skill, any old skill out there, you can learn to be a fabulous problem solver. The bad news is that very few businesses last without a good problem solver at the helm. Okay, so that's why it's so important that we build out our problem solving skills. So before we dive into this topic, in Latte and Learn, let me share a little bit about me, because you're probably like, who the heck is this girl? If you haven't watched me before, then I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. So my name is Amanda Ross, and before anything, I am a dog mom and a sister who happens to run a 6-figure creative agency called Spark Lab that helps coaches, consultants, and other service-based female businesses move from a one-to-one time equals money business into a one-to-many online business that ignites you with the focus on product development, online courses, and brilliant branding. I do this by helping you turn your blah website into your number one business asset that sparks growth and explodes your impact. Boom, we're gonna blow it up. That's right. I've led an international marketing team with $1 million budget, trained and coached over 200 entrepreneurs to build strong brands online, and have designed hundreds of websites. I officially started my full-time business in 2013 and have designed, like I said, hundreds of websites and other visual marketing pieces, and even real things. Books. There's actually a couple books here that I've done. Do I have any close by? No. Not within arm's reach, and I'm too lazy to get up. So I've also created like this card game, Brain Bites the card game. So lots of things, and I just love creating stuff, and I love solving problems. So I love being able to, someone hand me a problem or be like, we need to grow a business, we don't know how. I'm like, give it to me. I want to solve the problems. So there you go. I've also hosted 3 podcasts in my past, and I've been a guest on multiple podcasts and Facebook groups sharing my strategies on marketing, product planning, and more. I love all things small business, and you can find me on any given Sunday playing Frisbee with my baby girl, Buffy the Boston. She hates, it's so weird. Almost every picture you see of her, she very rarely looks at the camera because she doesn't like it. I don't know why. So every time I take the camera, she's like, I can't look. I'm like, wait, Buff, look this way. She's like, I can't look. Weird little animal. She's going to be turning 12 this summer. Whew. Crazy. So I, like you, think that having a business should be exciting and fun without confusion about what you do, who you do it for, and how you do it. So many coaches and consultants find themselves overloaded with calls that they realize they've hit a ceiling, and they want to scale their business in a different way. They often have you have loads of ideas about what that might look like, some ways you could do that, but months and months tend to go by and no decisions are actually made, and you're still wishing you could actually scale your business and decide which path is the right one. So you feel confused about which path is the right one and are stuck, right? That's why I created something called the Clarity Cure. Boom. It is a fully loaded 5-day challenge where you get unstuck let me turn that one off, where you get unstuck and you learn how to diversify your one-to-one business with one-to-many offers in an easy and fun way. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can head over to sparklabgroup.com/claritycure, where you can get all the details. The Clarity Cure takes away the confusion, feeling completely lost, having so many ideas but not knowing which way to go, wanting to pivot your business because you literally can't scale because you have no more time. The Clarity Cure is a game changer. We'll leave that on. Tanya Fox, who took the Clarity Cure in November, and again in January, I think Tanya is around, and she'll likely be on my live. I'm doing a live at 11 o'clock in my Facebook group, which I'm sure she'll show up for. Tanya said a quick recommendation she put on LinkedIn was, I took this course because I was branching out in one of my businesses and it was a game changer for me. Highly recommend, 10 stars. And I so appreciate her for that. That was really, really kind of her, and I'm so pumped that she felt like that. So that was awesome. The Clarity Cure is perfect for coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners who are sick of feeling stuck in the one-to-one space with no way to scale their business. You know you want to create a one-to-many offer, but you have too many ideas floating around and have no idea which one is the right move. You are feeling confused and lost about where to begin. Instead, you want a business that feels light and fun, busy yet free. You want space and purpose. You want a business where you know exactly what to do, who you do it for, and how you do it. After this 5 days, you will feel pumped and clear and light and excited to implement everything I share with you in the Clarity Cure. So join now. It only opens a few times a year. The next one is coming up at the 1st of March. So hop in. All right, let's get into things. First of all, though, who did the exercises from last week's Latte and Learn, which was 5 powerful ways you can stop caring what other people think of you? Did anybody do any of that? Let me know in the comments. Tell me in the comments how that went, especially the last one where I asked you to reach out to 10 people. I'd be so curious to know how that felt. I bet it felt awesome. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go watch it because I did that live last week. So it's in the videos, so you can head over there, and you should subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're at it. Hit that subscribe button and then head over and watch the other video there. Okay. Alrighty, so did you contact the 10 people? Were you shocked? That's what I want to know. So I hope you really learned something amazing about yourself during that too, because a lot of times we feel like we're this, and then finding out that people think we're this is pretty amazing. So to start things off for this session, I want to be really sure that we all understand why being a fabulous problem solver is critical to your business. So imagine you're driving to your friend's 40th birthday, okay? When all of a sudden there's a tree just smack right there in the middle of the road. You cannot drive around it. What do? What are you going to do? If you're a problem solver, you hunt out a solution, okay? Maybe you pop open your phone, look for another route, and on your way. Maybe you take out your handy axe that you have in your trunk. Hey, who knows? You'd be surprised what's in my trunk. Chop that tree down and just get going. Anything can happen. Maybe you call the city to get somebody out here to move this damn tree so you can get moving. Maybe there's other cars around and you say, hey, everybody, come on, let's get together. We could probably move this tree a little bit out of the way. We can all get going. Okay, you get my point, right? A problem solver takes action and solves the problem so that they can keep moving towards the goal, okay? Now, if you are not a problem solver, you may find yourself just sitting in your car waiting for someone to come along to move the tree, or just turning around and going home and saying like, yeah, no, I couldn't make it to the birthday bash. There was a tree. You couldn't do it. Sorry. Okay. Those who can't solve problems allow obstacles to stop them from reaching their goal. They often wish the problem would just, go away, or struggle because they believe that they have to come up with the number one right answer. That's another thing that we see with people who aren't actually actioning their problem solving skills. This tends to be a big reason, because they want to choose the best option, right? And there's so many voices, even in your own head, about what that best option might be, or if you're searching online, or if you're talking to a team or whatever, that there's conflict, and it's so many of us don't like conflict that we just wait for somebody else to solve it. We go, you know what, I'm not having this. I don't want this. So not the best. However, having conflicting opinions is a great way to find a really good solution because you're receiving additional information about what the problem is and are seeing additional problems within those solutions. So it leads you and keeps leading you and leading you to potentially the best solution, right? So we want to break it down enough that all those little obstacles have been eliminated. Being a good problem solver means that you can assess the situation, analyze the information, and make an educated decision on how to move forward. And it doesn't always have to be perfect straight away. Like I said, like you may be like, okay, I think this might be the answer. And then you're like, oh, learned a little lesson there, or maybe, let's do this. Sometimes that happens, okay? It may mean coming up with a solution and reworking it until it's a pretty damn good solution. So tell me about a time that you can think of, maybe that you had to solve a problem in your business. Tell me in the comments. Tell me about maybe a recent problem that you were like, I got to get on this, baby. How did you come up with that? I would love to know how that works out for you. All right, so now we know why problem solving is important. Let's look at how to be insanely good at problem solving. So I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can develop your problem solving skills. Now, before we do that, here we go. Okay, and before we get started, I want you to understand these rules. These rules. Sometimes I don't know what way anything is. So these are a few rules that are really important to take with you as you're problem solving, okay? No ideas are bad ideas. Write all your ideas down. Build on those ideas. Let your mind really go there, okay? There's no roadblocks when we're coming up with ideas. The crazier, the better, because it pushes your limits, okay? So keep that in mind whenever you're working through any problem. So let's go through these. All right. You ready to become an amazing problem solver? All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Don't you love it when I sing? I bet it's your favorite. I bet you're like, I can't wait to show up to Amanda's Lives because she's going to sing. It's the best. All right. Number 1, ask why by 5. So she who articulates the problem the best wins the business. This is a simple way using this solution, 5 by 5. 5, why by 5? 5 by 5, that's from Buffy. That's not what we're talking about here. Why by 5? This is a simple way to push yourself to get really creative when faced with a problem because it forces you to keep digging and digging and digging until you uncover the true problem. Okay, again, she who articulates the problem the best wins the business or wins the goal, whatever it might be. So when problem solving fails, it's likely because you didn't understand what the actual problem was. It's really important that we dig out what that problem is. You can't solve a problem if you don't know what it actually is, right? So when you're faced with a problem, I want you to ask why. Okay, once you come up with an answer, ask why again and again and again, right? 5 times. Okay, that's what it is. Why by 5? Okay. For example, let's say your problem is that no one's signing up for your online course. So you say, well, why is no one signing up for my online course? Maybe you think it's because not enough people know about my online course. Okay, why, right? Why don't they know about my online course? You're like, oh, well, I guess I've been posting to IG, but not really to other networks, or I haven't tried any advertising. Why haven't you posted to other networks, and why have you done more advertising, right? So you just keep doing this until you've done it 5 times, because the deeper you go, the more you're going to understand where the true problem is, right? So it's like when we go to the doctor and they're like, oh, take a pill for this thing or whatever. Not that it's wrong, doctors are great, but sometimes it's like we have to find out the underlying cause of the issue to actually fix what's wrong, right? Same idea here. You have to find the underlying cause of the issue to find out what's wrong. And in this scenario, it might be that what the problem is that you're not confident in your course. So therefore you're not selling it enough. You're not doing advertising. You're not telling people. Therefore nobody knows about it, right? Like it could be something like that. So that's why we want to ask those 5 whys. Okay. So that's one way to really start becoming a good problem solver. Number 2 is be imaginative. Okay. Sometimes what happens is we don't even realize that when we do things, we follow the same steps, right? We get into routines with things, we do things kind of the same way all the time. So sometimes when we follow the same steps to uncover the solutions, we're not able to kind of explore new ideas and new options because we kind of follow the same steps all the time. So we need to get creative in the way that we solve the problem itself, right? We want to sort of explore new ways. So you'll know this is happening for you when you either A, that's my A. So 1, cannot uncover the true problem, or 2, you cannot find a viable solution. You're stuck. Like, you get stuck. You know there's a problem, but you are stuck in solving it, okay? So in order to get unstuck and come up with loads of potential solutions, you have to change things up. We gotta shift perspectives, try something new, all right? Anytime we can make our mind work differently is a good way to explore and grow. That's literally what Brain Bites, what I built this game for, is literally that. This card game forces your brain to think of different things in a very different way, right? So it's a really good way to get your mind open to things. Same idea here. You don't need the card game, but you want to start asking, what if, okay? What if anything was possible? What if anything was possible? What about asking something like, imagine if there were no limits. How would I solve this problem? There were no limitations. Or what if I had all the time in the world to solve this problem? Or what if I had all the money? There's no financial burdens and I can solve this. How would I solve this problem if all of these restraints were removed? Okay, asking questions like this can expand your mind and allow new ideas to come in. Okay, so as you ask these questions, start writing down all those ideas that come to your mind, right? Again, remember, all ideas are welcome. So you're going to want to make sure that you are actually writing down all those ideas as they start coming in, because they're going to start rushing in. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, make it someone else's problem. Make it someone else's problem. So what do I mean by this? Not necessarily what you think I mean. What I mean is, when we're solving problems for ourselves, we often get stuck because we're too close to the issue, right? We can't see the forest through the trees, or is it see the trees through the forest? Something about trees and a forest and being able to see through. Okay, so whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we can't see all of the problem or open our minds to all of the solutions because we're unable to sort of see the entire picture because we're too close to it, right? Imagine like holding up a picture to your face and you can really only see a little bit. You can't actually, because the rest is all fuzzy, right? The rest is all blurred out. You can't see the whole thing. We need to be able to step back from it. Okay, so how we do that is by disconnecting ourselves from the problem and making it someone else's problem. Okay, so we're like, you know what, this is Sheila's problem. Okay, so if I'm helping Sheila solve the problem, it's the same problem you were trying to solve, but now it's Sheila's problem. What are the types of advice that you would give Sheila to solve that problem, right? So we take ourselves out of it and we're giving it to someone else. Okay, so instead of using I, me, us, we start using they, them, she, he. Okay, so you start thinking about it in terms of them. If it was a client problem, if they were paying me to solve this, what would I do? What would I tell them? Okay, sometimes it's hard to pull ourselves out, but start by using those terms, right? Don't use I, me, us. Use they, them, she, he. It will just start helping your mind shift it to somebody else's issue, okay? So doing this will allow you to mentally distance yourself from the problem and gives you the bandwidth to see more sides and to find new solutions, okay? I'm going to nod like that every time now, okay? All right, number 4. Don't try to solve it. F it. We're done here. Okay, what I mean here is, this does sound maybe a bit counterintuitive. You're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. I thought the whole point was to solve problems. Yeah, it is. Look, hear me out. So this might sound counterintuitive, but it's actually a really great way to solve a problem. And it's very simple, okay? Try not solving it for a while. Take a break. Give it some space. Give yourself some space. Let it go for a little bit. Sometimes when we focus too hard on the problem, our minds, we're too lasered in on it and we can't expand, okay? So we have to stop. We have to stop our minds and instead let it sort of just breathe a bit. Just let it breathe. Stop focusing on it. Stop thinking about it. Do what you can to not focus on it. So give your mind new information that is not just from your computer desk, okay? This is really important. Get outside. Go for a walk. Just go for a walk, 15 minutes even. Go down the street, come back. Clear your head. You know, you've heard this before. I got to go clear my head. This is a great way to solve problems because what happens is when we allow our head to clear and we get out of focusing on this problem, our head actually starts to expand and our subconscious is working on the problem and then solutions start flowing, okay? Another way is, doing some exercise, go for a half an hour run, go downstairs wherever you are, however, go to your gym if you can, COVID. So, do what you can, work out downstairs for a bit, take a hot shower. This is one of my favorites. I've been known, no joke, to take a hot shower 3 times in a day sometimes, just because I need to get out of my head. I need to let it just flow a bit, okay? So if the problem drifts into your mind as you're doing any of these things, that's okay. I don't want you to be like, oh no, I can't think about it. It's okay. What I don't want you to do is to be stuck forcing yourself to think about it. Don't do your best to let it go. But let ideas flow back in. That's okay. That's all right. But give it a rest. Let your unconscious, your subconscious mind work out the problem a bit. Sometimes even just sleep on it. Be like, okay, I'm done here. I can't come up with a solution for this. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to sleep. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to relook at this fresh. I'm going to let it roll around in my head all night and see where I am tomorrow. Okay? So that is number 4. Number 5, crunch time. So what I mean here is how often have you had a client project due in 6 weeks? This is sometimes I try to be better at this, but I'm really bad at this. I've always been really bad at this, but I'm also really good at it because it's kind of just how I do things. Have you ever had a client project due in 6 weeks? Like way out there, it's due. In forever. That's a really long time. And then you don't actually start it for 2 days before, right? And now you're like, holy Christ, I have to work for 48 hours straight, no sleep. I get this done, right? And did it work out? Maybe, but hopefully it did. Hopefully it did. I am nowhere near as bad at this, but I used to do this in school and everything. I would always leave everything to the very last minute and I'd be like, oh shoot, I got to do that. So now I'm much better at, I make my to-dos when I break out projects, I have much more scheduled things that happen and we get them done. And when you work with other people, you can't just leave things till the end. Your team is like, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to get something to me a week ago. Yeah, you can't just leave things. So why though? Why does this work? It's because we as humans tend to work fairly well under pressure, right? Pressure, not everybody, but a lot of people, we work really well under pressure. So the same thing happens when we're faced with a crisis, right? We act quickly. Our minds start to move really fast when there is sort of a life or death situation or getting paid or losing a client situation, right? We do the same thing. We're like, I got to figure this out and move now, right? I got to come up with solutions. So I know that it's tough to sort of pretend you're in a crisis. So instead, try working on the problem when you're not at your best. This is another way to sort of do this. So when you wake up, maybe, you're kind of groggy, start working on that problem. Or later at night, or when you're hungry, right? Start working on that problem because your mind is in a little bit of a different place in those times, okay? So it forces you to start thinking differently. Or when you only have 10 minutes before a call, you're like, okay, I have a call in 10 minutes. I'm going to focus on this problem. I want to get a solution before that call, right? Even though that might not be the deadline, but you're forcing a deadline on yourself, okay? If we force our brain to work in tense, uncomfortable uncomfortable situations, it tends to work differently. Okay. So you'll come up with different solutions than you would have by just sitting around focusing on that problem. All right. That was number 5. That was it. 5 ways. So how did that feel? Are you ready? Are you already doing some of these? I'd love to know if you use some of those. What other maybe problem solving ways do you use to kind of get more ideas to help you solve things? Which one of these do you really want to try? Tell me in the comments. Comment below and give me a shout out and tell me what ones you want to try. And again, do not miss out on the Clarity Cure, which starts in a couple of weeks. If you want to shift your one-to-one business into one-to-many, this is the place for you. Okay. Joanna Cotton, who just took the Clarity Cure, said, where is she? Hold on. Ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. I'll take this link out so you can see it. There you go. I just completed Amanda's 5-day Clarity Cure, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's looking to take their business to the next level. My partner and I are developing a new social startup, and this was just the course we needed to gain greater clarity on our core offer, how to develop messaging that really resonates with our core audience, and tools and tips for building our funnel. That's true. Those are all the things we cover in the 5 days. So join the Clarity Cure. I'd love to have you. That is the link, sparklabgroup.com/claritycure. I will put the link below as well. And now that is it for this week's latte and learn. So there you go. Do you find yourself doing all the things in your business, feeling overwhelmed? If yes, then you're going to love next week's session, which is going to be about how to stop doing $10 an hour things and only do $100 to $1,000 an hour things. So I will see you here next week at 10:15 a.m. Have a kick-ass day, and I will see you next week.